In 1903, two brothers launched a flimsy machine into the skies for just 12 seconds, defying gravity. 6 years later, their Wright Flyer of 1909 soared into history as the world's first military airplane, sparking a revolution that would conquer the skies. Join us to uncover how this fragile contraption changed warfare, inspired airliners, and lit the fuse for modern aviation. In December 17, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. A cold wind sweeps across the dunes as Orville and Wilbur Wright, two bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, stand beside a fragile machine of wood, wire, and muslin. With a sputter from a homemade engine, their Wright Flyer lifts off, soaring 120 feet in 12 seconds. That fleeting moment marks the birth of powered flight, a spark that will ignite a revolution. But the true blaze comes 6 years later, in 1909, when the Wright Flyer becomes the world's first military airplane, transforming a daring experiment into a tool of war and exploration. This is the story of how the Wright Flyer of 1909 changed the skies forever, a tale of grit, genius, and a machine that defied the impossible. In the late 1890s, Orville and Wilbur Wright were not engineers or scientists, just two brothers obsessed with flight. Inspired by German glider pioneer Otto Lilienthal, they began experimenting in their Dayton bicycle shop, crafting kites and gliders to crack the code of controlled flight. By 1902, their gliders soared over Kitty Hawk's windswept beaches, mastering a 3-axis control system, wing warping to twist the wings for roll, a front elevator to adjust pitch, and a rear rudder to manage yaw. Their 1903 Flyer, powered by a 12-horsepower engine, achieved the first controlled, powered flight, a modest 120 feet. By 1905, their Flyer 3 could stay aloft for 39 minutes, covering 24 miles, proving flight could be practical. In 1908, their Model A dazzled crowds in France, flying for over an hour, and caught the eye of the U.S. Army back home. By 1909, aviation was a wild, uncharted frontier. Balloons and airships floated above battlefields, offering slow, clumsy reconnaissance. Powered planes were rare, mere toys in the eyes of many. France's Blériot 11 had crossed the English Channel, but its wobbly controls paled next to the Wrights' precision. Germany and Britain tinkered with monoplanes, yet crashes were frequent, and reliability was a dream. The U.S. Army, sensing rising global tensions, saw a new future in powered flight. In 1907, the Army Signal Corps issued a bold challenge: build an aircraft to carry 2 people, reach 40 miles per hour, and fly 125 miles. The Wrights, fresh off their European triumphs, were ready to answer with a machine built for war. Developing the 1909 Flyer was no small feat. The Wrights took their Model A and re-engineered it for the Army's demands. Working with their mechanic, Charlie Taylor, they crafted a new 30 to 35 horsepower engine, twice the power of their 1903 design, capable of lifting 2 passengers. The airframe grew sturdier, with reinforced wood and muslin to handle military rigors. Orville led the flight trials, while Wilbur managed design and negotiations. Army officers like Lieutenant Frank Laum evaluated the results, their skepticism a constant hurdle. The Wrights poured their own money into the project, as funds were scarce. The military doubted planes could outperform balloons, and technical challenges loomed. The engine needed constant tuning, and the airframe had to withstand rough landings. The darkest moment came in 1908 at Fort Myer, Virginia, when a broken propeller sent Orville's Flyer crashing, killing Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge, the first aviation fatality, and injuring Orville. Yet the brothers pressed on, strengthening landing skids and refining controls for the 1909 trials. The Wright Flyer of 1909 was a marvel of simplicity and innovation. Its biplane wings spanned 36 feet, built from wood and covered in muslin, weighing just 800 pounds fully loaded. A 4-cylinder, water-cooled engine churned out 30 to 35 horsepower, driving 2 pusher propellers via bicycle-style chains, a nod to the Wrights' roots. The heart of its genius was the 3-axis control system, wing warping for roll, a front elevator for pitch, and a rear rudder for yaw, all operated by levers. It could hit 42 to 44 miles per hour, climb 500 feet, and fly 125 miles, meeting the Army's needs. Compared to the 1903 Flyer's feeble 12 horsepower and 120-foot hops, this was a giant leap. Unlike France's Blériot 11, with its tractor propeller and crude controls, the Flyer offered unmatched maneuverability. Its strengths were clear, lightweight, nimble, and perfect for scouting. But it had flaws. The fragile frame crumpled on rough landings, the engine struggled with heavy loads, and strong winds grounded it, demanding near-perfect weather. Summer 1909, Fort Myer, Virginia. Orville Wright stood before a crowd of soldiers and spectators, the flyer gleaming under the sun. The Army trials were make or break. Orville delivered, carrying Lieutenant Lom as a passenger, clocking 42.583 miles per hour over 10 miles, and soaring 125 miles cross-country. The flyer danced through the sky, proving its worth as a reconnaissance platform. The 1908 crash had been a harsh lesson. Selfridge's death and Orville's injuries exposed the flyer's fragility, but the Wrights had learned. They strengthened the airframe and fine-tuned the engine, overcoming windy delays and mechanical quirks. On August 2, 1909, the Army accepted the flyer for $25,000, roughly $900,000 in 2025 dollars, plus a $5,000 bonus for exceeding speed requirements. Dubbed Signal Corps No. 1, it became the world's first military airplane, sparking a global race to build air forces and forever-changing warfare. While the flyer was built for the Army, its influence rippled into civilian life. The Wright Company, formed in 1909, began offering passenger flights and training pilots, planting the seeds for future airlines like KLM and the St. Petersburg-Tampa Airboat Line. In October 1909, Orville flew over New York during the Hudson-Fulton celebration, circling the Statue of Liberty as crowds gasped. One journalist, braving the flight, described oil spraying his face, calling it thrilling yet terrifying. These demonstrations shifted public perception, turning aviation from a risky stunt into a vision of the future. Newspapers hailed the flyer as a flying machine, fueling a global craze for flight. Its fragility and short range kept it from commercial routes, but its high-profile flights inspired airliners like the Junkers F-13, which would carry passengers across Europe by 1919. The flyer's reign was brief, its limitations stark. Its wooden frame and muslin wings shattered on rough landings, and the 30 to 35 horsepower engine could barely lift 2 people, let alone cargo. Takeoffs required a cumbersome catapult, and winds over 15 miles per hour grounded it. By 1910, European designs like the Farman biplane and Blériot 11 surpassed it, offering better range and stability. The flyer was retired by 1911, a victim of aviation's breakneck pace. The Wrights' secrecy didn't help. Fiercely protective, they sued rivals like Glenn Curtiss over wing warping patents, diverting energy from innovation to courtrooms. This allowed European manufacturers to leap ahead, dimming the Wright star. Their pioneering role was undeniable, but their litigious streak frustrated peers, casting a shadow over their legacy. Yet the Wright Flyer's impact soared far beyond its short life. Militarily, it proved aircraft could scout battlefields, paving the way for World War I fighters like the Sopwith Camel and bombers like the Gotha G.4. Commercially, its 3-axis control system shaped airliners like the Douglas DC-3, which carried passengers across continents. The Flyer's lessons endure. Its 3-axis controls are the foundation of every modern aircraft, from the F-15 Eagle to the Boeing 787. Its lightweight design and iterative testing remain aerospace cornerstones, guiding projects like the F-35 Lightning II and urban air taxis like the Joby eVTOL. The Flyer's story is one of human triumph, celebrated in museums like the Smithsonian, where replicas inspire awe. Hidden stories bring the Flyer to life. In their Dayton bicycle shop, the Wrights hand-carved propellers, a testament to their resourcefulness. During the 1909 trials, pilots lay prone, braving wind and oil spray with no cockpit for protection, their courage as vital as the machine itself. Crowds at Fort Myer cheered as if witnessing magic, while test pilots like Lieutenant Lom marveled at the Flyer's responsiveness but feared its fragility. These moments capture the raw daring of early flight, a time when every takeoff was a gamble. The Wright Flyer of 1909 remains a symbol of innovation because it embodies the human spirit, curiosity, persistence, and defiance of the impossible. From a Dayton workshop to Fort Myers fields, Orville and Wilbur turned a dream into reality. The 1908 crash, which claimed Selfridge's life, was a painful lesson, but it fueled progress. The Flyer's legacy lives in every jet streaking across the sky, every drone buzzing above, and every dreamer who dares to soar. It reminds us that great leaps begin with small, risky steps, and failure is just a stepping stone to triumph. The Wright Flyer didn't just fly, it ignited the skies, lighting a path to the future of aviation.